Let me ask you something. What would make 300 warriors choose to die together rather than live apart? Keep that question in your mind, because tonight I'm going to tell you a story, a true story, about the most feared military unit in ancient Greece. A unit so powerful, so unbreakable, that it took the greatest conqueror of the ancient world to finally bring them down. This is the story of the Sacred Band of Thebes. Our story begins in Thebes, a Greek city that most people have forgotten. But back in 379 BC, Thebes had a problem. Actually, they had a big problem. Sparta, the most feared military power in Greece, had taken over their city, Spartans in their streets. Spartans in their government? Thebes was a puppet state. But the Thebans? They weren't the type to bow down. So they did something crazy. They rebelled. They kicked the Spartans out in a single night. A bloody, desperate night. And suddenly, Thebes was free. But here's the thing about freedom. You have to fight to keep it. And Sparta? Sparta was coming back with an army. So Thebes needed an elite force, something special. And a man named Gorgidas had an idea so radical, so completely different, that it had never been tried before. He didn't just want the strongest soldiers. He wanted soldiers who would never, ever abandon each other. So, he created a unit of 300 men, arranged in 150 pairs. But these weren't random partners. These were lovers. Now, stay with me here, because this is where it gets interesting. In ancient Greece, this wasn't unusual. What was unusual was making it the foundation of military tactics. Gorgidas understood something deep about human nature. A soldier might retreat to save himself, but a man will not run if it means abandoning the person he loves most in the world. Think about that. Your partner fights beside you. If you run, he dies. If he runs, you die. So neither of you run. Ever. You fight together. You stand together. And if necessary, you die together. This was the Sacred Band, and they were about to change everything. And change everything they did. Battle after battle, the Sacred Band did the impossible. At Tagaira in 375 BC, just the Sacred Band, only 300 men, defeated an army of 1,000 Spartans. Spartans, the warriors who had been unbeatable for 200 years. Then came Leuctra in 371 BC. The Spartans brought 10,000 men, Thebes had 6,000. By every rule of ancient warfare, Thebes should have lost. But the Sacred Band led the charge. They smashed through the Spartan lines like a hammer through glass. And Sparta, the great superpower, fell. For 33 years, the Sacred Band were unstoppable. They didn't just win battles, they were the tip of the spear, the first into battle, the last to leave. Other soldiers drew courage just from seeing them, because everyone knew the Sacred Band never. But every story, no matter how glorious, must come to an end. 338 BC, Chaeronea. The enemy wasn't Sparta this time. It was someone new, someone worse. Philip of Macedon and his 18-year-old son, Alexander. You might know him better as Alexander the Great. The battle was chaos. The Theban army was crumbling, retreat was the only option, and everyone ran. Everyone, except the Sacred Band. They stood their ground. All 300 of them, they formed their lines, and they stayed. Philip's army surrounded them, offered them surrender. They refused. So the Macedonians attacked, wave after wave, and the Sacred Band fought. They fought like they had always fought, together, protecting each other until the very last man fell. When the dust settled, Philip walked through the battlefield. He found them, 254 bodies lying in pairs, still beside each other even in death. No one had run. No one had abandoned their partner. And this is the part that gives me chills. Philip, this hardened king, this conqueror, looked at what he had done and wept. He said, "Let no man speak ill of these men." They believed a shameful suspicion that they could do or suffer anything base. He buried them with honor, right there on the battlefield, together, as they had lived as they had fought, as they had died. So remember that question from the beginning? What would make 300 warriors choose to die together rather than live apart? Now you know the answer. Love, not the kind you see in movies, but the kind that says, I will not leave you no matter what. The kind that makes you stand when everything in you screams to run. The kind that makes you hold the line when the whole world is collapsing. The Sacred Band of Thebes proved something that day at Chaeronea. They proved that the strongest bond in the world isn't forged by duty or discipline or fear. It's forged by love. And that bond, once forged, is unbreakable, even in death. Especially in death. That's the story of the Sacred Band, the most feared warriors in ancient Greece, the lovers who became legends.